Welcome, one and all, console war veterans and civilian noobs, to the 26th episode of the Green vs. Blue podcast. This week's topic, can next gen really save the rainforests? We are your hosts, David, SD Dog, and
PlayStation Pat Fennel.
Green vs. Blue is a podcast where we, your hosts, discuss the two best gaming platforms, Xbox and PlayStation. Green vs. Blue can be found on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast streaming service. You can also support us directly at patreon.com/green versus blue. That's patreon.com/green vs blue. Big thanks to our existing Patreons out there. We really appreciate you guys. If you have a burning question or comment about today's show, reach us directly at psboxcast@gmail.com. That's psboxcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us directly on the interwebs at...
You can find me, PlayStation Pat, on Instagram at PlayStation Pat, or on Twitch and YouTube at Variety Pat. That's VARIOTYPAT. Dave, what about you?
You can find me over on YouTube or hit up my gamertag at SDDawg. That's SDDAWG. So, Pat, let's move into our show. Let's hit up some Retroscope.
All right, Retroscope. First off, looking backwards. Retroscope is our weekly segment where we make corrections, if necessary, or follow up on interesting news from prior weeks. Hey everybody, the love and the giveaways keep on going. Halo Infinite giveaway later. Halo Infinite emblem giveaway later today. Stay tuned for that. Also, we are doing a raffle giveaway for a free digital copy of the Master Chief Collection coming up here in a few weeks. Want to win? All you have to do right now, you don't even have to pause your podcast. Just head straight over to your email app, hit us up at psboxcast@gmail.com. We'll give it to you once again later on. And to enter, all you have to do, send us an email in the header subject line, MCC giveaway. And then in the body, give us your name, first name, last name, along with something you like about the show, or just something about the show in general. Let us know. And we'll pick a winner here in a few weeks. Good luck to everybody. We'll look forward to that. And just following up, not sure if we had missed this one or not, adding to our Epic and Tencent stories from last week. In January, Tencent bought former chicken company turned gaming company ReAlLy Technologies for a sweet $1.5 billion.
Ooh.
Dang. ReAlLy Tech owned, and now Tencent owns, a majority stake in Canadian developer Digital Extremes, which means ReAlLy Tech owned, and now Tencent owns a majority stake in Canadian developer Digital Extremes, developer of Warframe. Tencent just throwing billies around like it's nothing. Also, adding Apple's suit against Epic, which we discussed extensively in episode 2 or 3. Go head back and check that out. Their suit is heading to trial in May, so we have some excitement coming up on the horizon. Dave, speaking of excitement, what have you been playing this week, and what new Xbox games are available?
Yeah, so I've been playing a little bit more Halo 5. Y'all know me. You've been listening to the show. You know me. You know your boy. Hitting up that
every
max
day.
Every day.
Yeah.
I'm about to play after we're done recording here. Playing a little bit of that, playing a little bit of Rocket League. I didn't check out the game mode that you were talking about last week, Pat, with the NFL, but I did see...
No, you did not?
I did not. I played a little bit with Akin. We played some drop shot, but...
It just doesn't even sound fun, if you ask me.
Yeah, it just seems like a very blatant, watch the Super Bowl type of ad. But I guess that's the point. But yeah, I don't know. Rocket League, it's still fun. Still enjoying it. But yeah, that's about it for me this week. And then on new Xbox games, looking kind of outside of myself and toward the platform. So just wanted to highlight, we don't usually, talk about cross-platform games. I know you usually kind of highlight them more, but definitely wanted to highlight this week Little Nightmares 2 coming out on February 11th. By the time you listen to this, it will be very near and dear to launch. So yeah, we're really excited about that. You can pick that up, I think, on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and I'm just really excited to check that one out. So we'll
Cool.
definitely keep you.
Are you going to be a day oneer?
I don't know, because they were coming out with a like a collector's edition, and I found out about this super late, and I looked on their website and it's all sold out. So I'm like, dang, now I kind of want the steelbook. It looks really dope. But they said they would stock up some more, so we'll see. But
Best Buy is pretty good for steelbooks, I've found.
Yeah, you should check out the steelbook, dude. It looks really sick.
Cool. Maybe after the show.
Yeah. So on Xbox Game Pass, we have a few new things for February. So on February 4th, so already you can pick up Ghost of a Tale, which is an action RPG from my knowledge, and it's on PC only. You can also pick up Project Winter. I think that's like an 8-person multiplayer survival game. That also sounds super interesting. Pick that one up on Android console and PC. And then
there's been a ton of these like survival games in the last year, I felt.
Yeah, I think they're starting to kind of make a comeuppance, if that's the right word. But
there you go.
We also have The Falconeer, which is like a dogfighting game, but you like fight as birds instead of planes. It's like a weird mythical type of game.
That's kind of sick.
It sounds pretty sick. I've never even heard of it until kind of like today. And then, so yeah, you can pick that one up on Android console and PC as well. And then finally, we have Monster Hunter World on cloud, streaming only.
Ooh.
So interesting. Peculiar. But on February 11th, we have Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age on console and PC. Don't really have to explain Final Fantasy there. And then I probably won't have to give any introduction to Jurassic World Evolution. That's coming to Android and console.
Ooh, yeah.
Kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but with Spielberg's dinosaurs. Go check it out. And then we have
Here we go.
Stealth Incorporated 2, a game of clones, Android and console only. I think that one is a puzzle platformer, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. I played the first one. Solid games.
Yeah. I looked it up and it looked kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it's my cup of tea, but I might check it out since it's on Game Pass. And then Pat, finally we have Wolfenstein Youngblood on Android only. And that one is the spin-off of, I believe, Wolfenstein 2. Kind of like the lesser received one, but hey, maybe it got better over time.
I don't think it's a fan favorite, but hey, you can play it for free. Hey, I just wanted to clarify, when you say Monster Hunter World on the cloud, that's playable on everything, so like PC and then mobile as well?
I honestly don't know. I was looking up for more clarification, and I think it's like on their beta cloud streaming service. So I think it's like, yeah, I don't think you can download it. I think you can only stream it through those console, PC, mobile.
Okay. We'll have to do some Retroscope follow-up on that next week, I think.
Yeah, that's what I gathered. Like, you're not downloading it, you're just streaming it.
Cool.
But yeah.
All right.
What about you, Pat? What do we got for PlayStation this week? And what have you been playing, boy?
Dave, I've been playing some Last of Us 2. I'm getting through it, man. You know, for some reason, I don't know why I've always done it. Maybe it's the terror of upgrading to joysticks when we were like first little kids and having to hit that learning curve. You know, the first consoles when we were little tiny kids were Super Nintendo is probably the most updated one. There's no joysticks. And so I always build these games way up in my head like they're going to be way more difficult than they are, but I'm really enjoying Last of Us 2. It's a good stealth game.
How you liking Abby?
I don't know. She definitely hurt my feelings towards the beginning of the game.
No spoilers.
That's all I'm gonna say. But we'll see how I feel about her by the whole end of the game.
How long do we have to, like, you know, do the whole like, oh, spoilers for a game that, like, what's the cutoff date where you're like, all right, the game's been out for like, you know, this long?
It's I'd say like 2 years, but
2 years? Oh,
just
I feel like
out
it's
of
a
like
while.
respect. Just out of like respect for some people. I mean,
Okay.
we can delve into mild spoilers at some point, or we can do a
Yeah.
spoiler warning segment or a
Spoiler heavy.
exclusive review segment for our Patreons by chance.
Yeah, I like
We'll
it.
see.
What else we got, Bap?
Anyways, new on the PlayStation Store this week. First off, we got a visual novel type game, Spice and the Wolf VR. The spice, David. The spice. I love Dune. Dune's my like new favorite fascination. Spice and the Wolf VR2 has nothing to do with Dune. So, anyways, Epic Games third-person team shooter Rogue Company is out this week. It's got a little Call of Duty plus Overwatch gameplay, I'd say, and then a little Apex Legends and Payday visuals, borrowing from, the most popular things. And it's an Epic game, so it's probably going to be pretty hot. But that's available on all platforms. So, Xbox kids, check it out as well. Moving on, we got a dungeon crawling third-person platformer, Gods Will Fall. One of the weaker games on the list this week. Then we got JRPG Ease 9 Monstrum Nox. Good RPG series. And then I'm wondering, Dave, why does Prison Architect Total Lockdown Edition cost $60? But yeah, I think
I've never heard of this game. Why does it cost $60? I haven't even heard of it.
It's the paid private prisons version of like The Sims or Sid Meier's Civilization. So you're like building a jail.
Build your own prison. I like it.
Anyways, Spookfest in an abandoned mansion, Silver Chains is out this week. If you're looking for some get your pants scared off. But if you're looking to get your butt kicked, Dark Souls like the Neo collection will get you Neo 1 and 2 and is available for $69.99 USD for the PS5. And arcade shooter Habroxia 2 is available. Wanted to give a little shout out because this game, Habroxia 2, is developed by Lilymo Games, which is partially owned by one of my personal big podcast inspirations, Colin Moriarty, formerly of IGN. Last but not least, PlayStation Pats, PlayStation Pick of the Week.
PlayStation Pets, PlayStation Pick of the Week.
Heck yeah. Here we go. Cyber Shadow is the big pick this week. Coming at you from Yacht Club Games, maker of Shovel Knight. And Cyber Shadow is like a cyberpunk Castlevania. So it's probably pretty good. Shovel Knight, much lauded. If you haven't played it, go back and check it out. You get crazy value for like the $14.99 or whatever it costs these days. But heck yeah. Huge good mix of AAA indie and Eastern and Western games this week, I'd say, from both platforms. But hey,
games just keep coming in.
That's going to do it for games this week.
All right. So now that we're all caught up, let's move into today's main segment, which is called Cross-Examination. And for any of you novice listeners out there, amateurs, peasants, no, I'm just joking.
Noobs.
For any listeners old and new, Cross-Examination is a segment where we take big relevant news about Xbox and PlayStation when they happen to intersect with each other in the gaming world. We then, guess what? We then debate, speculate, and create a discussion of our own, which fosters great discourse. Pat, so last week we reflected on the era of next gen that we're now in. Please go check out that episode. Please. Last
Dave,
week we were having a really good conversation.
Can I totally interrupt the show with an aside?
What's up?
Do you think noob is going to be an offensive term one day? Like once like most society is taking interaction is taking place in like a cyber world.
It's a
Anyways,
derogatory term.
next week. What's cross-examination this week?
Okay. So, Pat, last week we reflected on the era of next gen, big heavy quotes around that phrase next gen that we're now in. So we just did a little bit of a reflection last week. If you guys haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. We were just kind of talking about, well, I won't give it all away, but we both agreed that there is a lack of progress in this generational leap. Noting the shortages of consoles that will more than likely persist into the coming months due to high demand, aggressive scalpers, recently AMD chip shortages, all of which being exacerbated by the pandemic. So aside from this inconvenience, we also talked about the abysmal release of big Titan games like Cyberpunk 2077, a game that was supposed to also launch us into a next-gen experience. And just, I guess, not to mention the lack of compelling first-party titles for the series consoles and the PS5. I guess we kind of argued that there aren't, as many compelling titles, even though you can make the argument for it. But wait, Pat, there is more. There's more to add to this. So last week I forgot to mention some crazy vital news that has developed recently and kind of adds to this narrative of like being stuck in this weird limbo phase, right? So Bloomberg came out with an article recently that highlighted Amazon Games' inability to put out, well, games. So Jason Schreier and Priya Anand, I hope I pronounced that correctly, report that, quote, Amazon is spending nearly $500 million a year operating the video game division. Two people familiar with the budget say. That amount doesn't include Twitch or a new project under different management, which is building a service to stream games to a computer, phone, or Amazon Fire TV, unquote. So I think they're presumably talking about Luna,
Mm-hmm.
kind of what we're right. So they're trying to kind of respond to xCloud and Stadia. So, but Pat, why is Amazon, the biggest company on earth, unable to come out with a good game or just a game? Considering that they have an endless stream of revenue at their disposal.
Probably because Amazon is a near perfect, efficient business, which, I mean, has its moral downfalls and dilemmas, but that's an entirely different conversation. But video games are a creative endeavor. It takes artistic vision to give us the beautiful visuals and graphics and high fidelity imagery that we gamers now demand. And, there's creative choices still being made in the mechanics behind how games work. And Amazon is a business all about taking ideas from all different places, all different people's ideas, and putting that in, and that's great for a business. But there's such a thing as too many cooks in the kitchen, and too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, what you're getting on to the right track here, and what I put underneath is probably boils it down to extreme corporate culture. I would argue, and that kind of boils down to what you're saying about how Amazon is such a finely run company, very oiled machine, maybe too well oiled, where they kind of apply the same ideology and the same practices to every facet of their company, even if it doesn't have to do with, even if it has to do with creative endeavors.
The machine just moves too fast for what a good game requires.
And you could say that, Amazon Prime, like Prime Video, I think they're kind of catching on a bit. with getting, their own stuff down. They have a really good series called The Boys. Probably many of you have heard of that superhero show.
like
I
that
really
one.
enjoy it. I think they're
Same,
finally
same.
getting the concept of like putting the right people on, but I think there's still a lot of mundane stuff that you can tell it was purely like a business decision.
I think Disney is the most on the right track right now. Well, kind of. Their initiative a couple years ago when EA first got exclusivity, the idea at Disney was they were going to move all of their game development. The idea was that they were going to move the game development out from underneath Disney itself and put it in the hands of the people who really knew what they were doing. And I think we've seen that pay off with the Marvel games. The Spider-Man was like crazy hit. Disney owns Marvel, in case anyone didn't know. And then I don't know. I think was
Yeah, no, I think you're getting at something pretty key here, Pat. That like you got to put the right people in charge, people who know what they're doing. And unfortunately, from the Bloomberg article, I'm pulling that it's like that's kind of the main problem is that the people in charge are not very savvy to what they're making. They're kind of just approaching it with a very cutthroat business mentality. And I'll just continue the article if you
go
don't
ahead.
mind. So management at Amazon proves to be inexperienced with games. I'm kind of just paraphrasing from the article because it's a very lengthy one, but go check it out. So it's cited that Mike Frazzini, head of Amazon Games, I think he's the VP, insisted on building an inferior engine called Lumberyard in order to avoid paying for using Unreal or Unity. Very, very popular engines, very well-known and trusted engines for development. So that is kind of number one. A lot of employees are grumbling about that. Very hard to work with. Very slow engine.
It sounds like a dump. Lumberyard? Come on.
It sounds that the name doesn't inspire confidence. So employee testimonials were also saying he just simply doesn't understand the technology. I guess in like focus meetings, he couldn't tell what the difference was between like kind of like a highly produced like cinematic and like actual gameplay or something like that. Something along those lines where it's like someone who's running a gaming company should know what these people are showing him. And then I guess finally he was kind of trying to bypass Steam by proposing their own gaming platform to kind of just again save money for the company. And he was proposing to do like their own type of Steam like platform or something like that. And the employees were saying something along the lines of like, not holding a game from Steam is like holding a book from Amazon.
It's like holding a book from
it's like really detrimental.
Printed.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like very detrimental to what you're trying to produce. Like how are you supposed to get your game out there or, So I think they were kind of just trying to cut a lot of corners, trying to circumvent a lot of things, which is, I mean, I guess that's why Amazon is Amazon. They know how to save money. They know how to make money. But it doesn't seem to work for their game development. And it seems to show because they've had canceled games. The game that they did come out with, Crucible, I think it was like, it came out for like a day or something. And then they like pulled it back to beta and then they canned it.
That's crazy.
Because it was...
Wait,
like something crazy where like...
So hold up for a second though. This guy wanted to put some game on a platform that's not Steam, that also wasn't Amazon Luna.
Yeah, because there's still... I think this was back in like 2017 he was trying to do this. And this was before Luna. So there was only Epic Games, which is barely in its infancy, I think, if it was out by then. All there was Steam, really, I think, and like Xbox.
Mikey, you're being a nut job, my dude.
Yeah, this dude obviously like doesn't play video games.
Doesn't understand any of it.
He's just very business minded, and I think that's kind of the root of the problem here. So I think that kind of adds. I mean, obviously, this is kind of a separate from our complaints about not feeling like we're in next gen yet, but it feels like next gen, part of next gen should be like not just Xbox versus PlayStation like it's always been. It should be Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo versus Amazon games versus first party Google Stadia games. And I guess, Pat, that kind of leads into the Google Stadia news that we've ran into this week.
Yeah, similar to Amazon. After only 23 months and 2 developed games, Google is shuttering their internal Stadia Games development studios. So after opening in March of 2019, Google is closing their only internal game studios. 150 developers and staff were laid off between the 2 locations in Montreal and LA. I've never even heard of the 2 games that they developed.
I know that
I think I've heard of one.
I think they released they at least published a game exclusively on Stadia, because I remember it was the same dude, Tequila Works, the same studio who did Rime. They did a game for Stadia. So I have no idea. That's the only thing I know that came out of Stadia that was exclusive.
Okay. Well, the 2 games that they did publish were Orcs Must Die 3 in July of 2020 and Submerged Hidden Depths in December.
Never heard of them.
Orcs Must Die 3 is a tower defense game.
Okay.
I'm a fan of tower defense, but like they're dime a dozen.
Right.
And who knows what Submerged Hidden Depths is. It reminds me of that, what was that game that GameStop published? The Song of the Sea or something? Anyway, I have no idea what Submerged is.
It's just a way to describe how buried their game is under a ton of other popular games. I've never...
There we go,
Submerged.
baby. All right. Anyways, it's kind of sad. Stadia Studios. Say that 10,000 times fast. Stadia Studios in Los Angeles was being led by former Santa Monica studio head Shannon Studstill.
Shannon Studstill at Stadia Studios?
Oh my god, nice. Studstill famously worked on every single God of War game before joining Stadia less than a year ago in March of 2020. Anyways, best of luck to the 150 developers and staff that were laid off.
Yeah, heck of a time to do that.
But hey, we hope to see you. We particularly hope to see you do some great things on Xbox and PlayStation. So
yeah,
look forward to it one day. And hey, we don't have to like begrudgingly go play a good game that's on Stadia, because it's not gonna exist really. It's just gonna be
And that's the thing. That's like, I feel like that's a common theme with you were saying with Shannon Studstill. She's kind of, it sounds like she's a lot of talent, and they hired someone with a lot of talent, but they're not utilizing them to their potential because of corporate culture. That's what I would assume, because then the article I was reading with Amazon, they were saying that they hired all these heavy hitters from different types of industries, not different types of industries, different types of companies that have worked on high profile games, and yet they can't come out with a game. It's obviously poor management. It's obviously a lack of understanding the industry, and I think it's showing. So all these developments have happened in the last few years, but now it's finally showing. We don't have a game from Amazon. We're not going to have any first party games from Google Stadia. So what are we to look forward to for next gen, Pat? I think the technology of cloud gaming, sure, but why should I go to Google Stadia when they don't? What's compelling me to go over there? What's compelling me to go over to Amazon when I can just go to just get Game Pass, and I know that there's going to be a ton of first party games day one, eventually. So what am I compelled to? What am I looking forward to? And if there's not a huge competition for Xbox, which is arguably going to be the leader in cloud gaming, If Luna is the only competitor and they don't have any first party games, where is the incentive for Microsoft to keep improving? We've talked about it before. Where is the incentive, for developers of sports games like EA, the only developers of sports games? What's their incentive to keep improving if they have no competition? So I am even more doubtful. Unfortunately, I'm even more doubtful for the prospects of next gen.
Yeah, I think Xbox. I think what it is like everybody's fighting to be the Netflix of gaming, and I think Google and Amazon both sort of felt that if they could have their what was that first Netflix show that was big, the original? Oh, House of Cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see the billions that are flowing in, to to Epic Games or whatever. They're seeing all the money and they're like, we need to make this huge money generating game. And I think they're just kind of trying to get to the finish line before they've even, put on their shoes to run.
Everyone's trying to be,
I don't know
but everyone's trying to be the Netflix of gaming. And honestly, if Halo was out, that would be the first big cloud streaming game. But it's not out yet. But
don't remind me of that.
I think, but my point is I think Microsoft is still in the lead at the moment. And if Stadia and Amazon Luna had been able to get their things together and their plans together, they could have at this point launched something alongside or close to Halo Infinite and maybe had some decent competition, but they're dropping out. I think Microsoft is still winning the streaming future generation.
Sure. Yeah, I think the main thing to kind of pull away, I don't think Amazon's out of it. I think there was even, I forgot to put in an article, but there was even a headline talking, the new CEO of Amazon said that they're not giving up on video games. They're still going to push forward. At least that's what the headline said. So I'm not doubtful. I'm doubtful for the moment, for the time being. I feel like at this point in next gen, I feel like we should have been to the point where like all these companies were competing and showing us what can you offer, what thing better can you offer us, and now it's kind of just like, well, Game Pass is kind of the play for that. And unfortunately, I see this price hike that we were about to see a few weeks ago. That's definitely coming. If they know that everyone's flocking to their service and they don't have any compelling competition, they're going to raise that price. So that's what I'm saying is like there should. I would have hoped by now we would have had more companies competing by now with, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, and that's unfortunate because now the consumer might suffer for the in terms of price and all that stuff, exclusivity. But yeah, I think that Amazon will come through at some point with Luna. I don't think Google. I think Google's kind of out at this point. They've been notorious for canceling projects.
I don't know. I think they're in it for the long haul. I just think for the time being they're done trying to I think for the time being they're just done trying to develop some first party Stadia only game.
Yeah. I don't know, it just makes me a bit doubtful because if Google and Amazon can't pull it off, then who can? If they can't pump out games, then that just shows you how hard it is to enter the gaming industry. You have to be very much established like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. So I don't see any other smaller company coming up and showing them up at any point in the future. So we'll see how it turns out.
Maybe this generation just feels so weak because it hasn't really come yet, because it is the streaming generation.
Mm-hmm.
And just the tech's not there yet. Like, if you ask me, the internet infrastructure isn't there yet for a majority of people. So maybe that's why this gen feels so, partially why this gen feels slow, lackluster at the moment. It's because It really hasn't to all this whole other degree of the tech that it's all based on still hasn't like fully formed yet.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, we'll see if some first party games can really prove us wrong. I'm putting my hope in the games now rather than the technology and all this other stuff. So we'll see.
Until those good games come.
All right, that concludes cross examination. Yeah, if you guys have any comments, hit us up at our Gmail. I feel like that was a pretty spicy discussion right there. But yeah, let's move into fast fire news for this week.
For listeners old and new, Fast Fire News is our weekly news segment where we deliver the week's news to you faster than Harrison Ford the bellhop can deliver a telegram to Charles Ellis, room 607, in the 1966 film Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round, starring James Coburn. Not a very good job as a bellhop, I would say, but we'll cut the young Harrison Ford some slack because it was his first time ever on screen. Anyways, firing off these stories, first one coming at you. 10 to 15% of all PS5s have been scalped.
Nice.
Data engineer Michael Driscoll compiled the report using thousands of eBay and StockX listings across 3 months of data from November to January 16th. Around 2 million PS5s were sold at that time, and 157,000 or so were resold for an estimated profit of $43 million. That's $43 million worth of food that lazy people took out of children's mouths. You sons of a guns. Dave.
Hey man, they have children too. That's why they're doing it.
Well, maybe you should go out and pick up trash, dude. Just,
So go pick them up.
You're making pennies, like, dude, just go pick up some bottles and cans and take them to the recycling center.
All they got to do is take themselves to the recycling center because they're trash.
Good one. Dave, what's the next
Moving
story?
on. EA is bringing back their NCAA football games. We got a preliminary announcement that the game is in early development, so at the earliest it would release this fall for the 2022 season. The games will feature over 100 colleges, but not the players. For the time being, EA will avoid player names and images so that they can avoid paying them if the courts order payments for players. Okay. This will be the first time we see an NCAA since 2013 because of the issue of players not getting paid because they would be too expensive for the NCAA and Fortune 500 company, EA. Look out for more news in the weeks ahead. Just a quick note on this, Pat. I have to comment. Yeah, I think it's showing that EA is kind of just getting more and more lazy with their installments of football sims. This is, I don't mean this episode is just extremely like just lamenting about the gaming industry, but there's so much to like. You can't just let it go. I feel like we just can't let stuff like this go every week.
This announcement would be a million times cooler if it was anybody else except EA.
I know. It's like, we're not going to put in the effort to put in their names and stuff because money. Sorry. Just because we want to give you the best experience. It's all about the players at the end of the day.
And then, like, trying to, like, I'm going to say Angel's Advocate because, EA is the opposite.
Devil has enough advocates.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, so what if the Madden games and the NCAA games are like developed from two different studios and they can both like improve upon each other's progress and it's like inner competition? Come on, dude. It's just going to be a reskin. Let's
be honest. Yeah. What else we got?
Another sad story. It's probably not that sad for that many people, though.
Don't worry, we got a heartwarmer coming up.
Battleborn servers have been shut down After its less than desirable release on PS4 and Xbone in 2016, the MOBA shooters servers have been shut down, rendering the game completely unplayable. Unlike older games that can be archived or emulated, this is a modern game that is going to be almost completely lost to time and literally completely unplayable. Even the single-player campaign is unplayable since they shut down the servers, and unless there is the highly unlikely scenario that they ever release or allow local or private server hostings, Battleborn is pretty much like literally unplayable for the foreseeable future forever.
That sucks.
Yeah. Just gone. Whatever. Dang, dude.
Well, Pat, let's move on to some opposite news. I don't know. I don't know how opposite this is, but after less than 2 years,
it's good.
Apex Legends, owned by EA, has created over $1 billion in revenue. But yeah, no, I agree. Congrats to, the Titanfall creators, Respawn, on the success, for sure. Congrats to them. I mean, they did something that was awesome. A lot of people loved. But unfortunately, a lot of that money goes to EA.
Yeah. But dude, Apex is bigger than both of the Titanfalls combined ever.
Yeah, no, I understand why. It's just a great tight game, like tight gameplay, fun characters. It's really addictive game loop.
Have you played it?
So, yeah, I played it right when it came out.
I still haven't played a second of it. I'll admit.
Yeah, it's a good battle royale.
I need people to play battle royales with, dude. Hit me at the psboxcast@gmail.com.
Yeah,
play Apex with me. I've never played.
Boy over there. But yeah, that I guess crossplay will be enabled day 1 on March 9th for Nintendo Switch, and then furthermore, the game will be arriving on mobile phones before the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, you got anything else to say about this one?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, cross-play and cross-progression were really exciting for me when it came to one of my great I think it's now a former love, Dave, Rocket League. I'm gonna say former. I'm not. Maybe one day I'll be back. Anyways, I think this is really exciting for some people. Crossplay is for people that for younger folk that got into Fortnite and that was like their first big game ever, or Minecraft was one of their first big games ever. Like, I don't think there's an appreciation, and there won't be an appreciation amongst younger gamers, gamers who are like 10 to 13 right now that didn't live before crossplay was a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of weird to think about.
Like just remember how cool it was the first time you found out about it. I mean, it's only like a year or two ago, but it feels like forever ago.
Yeah, it's still really cool. Yeah, sometimes I forget it's even there when I'm playing Rocket League. I'm like, wait, Pat can play with us. I'm like, why don't you play with us?
Because it's not good for 4 players, which is kind of a bummer. Hey, maybe we can jump in Apex all together.
Yeah, maybe.
Here we go. Last story of the day. That was a pretty slow-fired one, I think. Whatever. PlayStation has... this one's going to get us really going fast.
Oh.
Here we go. PlayStation has teamed up with Red Bull for Capture the Point, an in-game screenshot photo mode competition. You're crazy, dude. That's gotta stay in the show. That was some good jazz.
It's too much Red Bull.
In the background. Anyways, for Capture Point, the photo competition, players can submit photos from Demon Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, or The Last of Us Part 2. You have until May 2nd to take and submit up to 18 photos across the 5 different games. category winners. Quote, category winners. I don't know what that means exactly. I think there's going to be maybe one for each game. Anyways, each one of those winners is going to receive a PS5 and PS5 accessory kit. In the meantime, as you're trying to grind for your screenshots, take a break and head over to participating Walmart and 7-Eleven stores, which are giving away PlayStation Network avatar codes with the purchase of Red Bull cans.
Nice.
And I guess these usually they don't tell you anything about these avatars, so it's nice to have a tiny little bit of info. These Red Bull sponsored avatars are going to feature characters from select PlayStation titles, quote, drawn in a classic cartoon style.
Sweet.
Kind of exciting. I don't think I've ever bought a Red Bull, but I might go buy one.
It's probably my favorite energy drink, to be honest, that one.
I drank my first one for the first time this year. Dave, do you want to go ahead and guess where I purveyed that Red Bull? Mind you, I've never paid for a Red Bull. So where would I have gotten this said Red Bull, do you think?
You found it on the ground.
No. Obviously, you haven't been in a GameStop recently enough.
Obviously not.
So I think it was like September. No, it was probably more like October, November. I don't know, like, if GameStop had ordered so many Red Bulls for their like corporate offices that were like closed, or what the heck was going on. But every single GameStop had like literally 30 cases of Red Bulls, and they were supposed to be giving them away free with like every purchase, but they were just giving them away to every single person that came in for the most part because they just had 30 cases of Red Bull.
What are you going to do with 30 cases of Red Bull? I don't know.
Drank it.
You tell me. Drank it? Give it away?
Dave, that's going to close out Fast
in.
Fire News this week, I think, unless you had one more thing to say.
Nah, that's it.
Cool.
Let's move it to our rotating segment this week, Pat. It's a fan favorite. Actually, I don't know if it's a fan favorite, but it's our favorite. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So, heart warmer of the week. We kind of need this in lieu, or just in light of all the negative news this week. So, Ori and the Will of the Wisps developer and publisher raised over $58,000 for nonprofit organization, the Rainforest Trust. That's awesome. Yeah, when you named the title, Save the Rainforest, I thought you were talking about Amazon, and I was like kind of laughing. I was like, what are you talking about?
Nice, dude. It's a double entendre.
Nice and dirty. All right. So yeah, originally by Ty Galiz Rowe at GameSpot. Yeah, that was the article. That's the giving credit to the article there.
Yeah, that's where we found the story.
Okay. Just paraphrasing here. So developer Moon Studios alongside publishers I Am 8-Bit and Skybound Games pledged to donate 5% of the proceeds from every Nintendo Switch sale of Ori and the Will of the Wisps from December 8th to the 13th to the Rainforest Trust. All versions of the game were included in this program, digital, physical. There was originally a guarantee of $25,000, but that number shot up to about $58,000 in proceeds.
Dang.
So, nice. The benefactor Rainforest Trust is a charity that works toward the rainforest conservation around the world by establishing protected areas in partnership with local organizations and communities. They have already purchased 33 million acres of land that is now designated as protected. As of the January 15th, the Rainforest Trust announced another purchase of 5,407 acres in the El Silencio Natural Reserve in Colombia. The area is home to 6 different primate, 42 amphibians, and 723 plant species. Awesome. And then finally, the donations from the Ori fundraiser will enable the trust to secure another 29,000 acres, which is about the size of Manhattan. And then I Am 8-Bit co-owner John Gibson explained the company's reasoning for the donation in a video posted back in December. And I quote, "As its publisher, we had to make the critical decision of how to spend the game's marketing budget," Gibson said in the video. "We decided to shake things up and try to make a difference with that money, so we're trying trying something bold in hopes of activating players just like you around the world. And that ends the quote right there. Yeah, that's a really good story, Pat.
Yeah. Just the whole thing.
Yeah, like this is good news alongside like the whole everyone like people who won money off of the GameStop stock last week, like giving Nintendo Switches to like kids in hospitals, kind of definitely the polar opposite of what, a lot of these large companies are doing, like hoarding their wealth, using their wealth to get more wealth, that type of thing. It's good to hear this completely opposite story in relation to gaming.
I mean, he's talking about just from like the pure from like the business aspect of it. As John Gibson was saying, like this is their marketing budget that they're spending this on, and they're getting a whole segment on our show for it.
That's a way to do some marketing.
Yeah. But it certainly has piqued my interest in the game. I enjoy a good rainforest, a rainforest vibe. Maybe a YouTube video with some rainforest sounds. You know what, Dave? In fact, let's I'm gonna go ahead and click my fingers and let's get some rainforest sounds going in the background here. There we go. And
Ooh.
but just
how
nice is that? And
wow,
that's
some good sounds.
That's what Moon Studios is helping protect. And that vibe itself gets me interested in Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Did you play this one yet, Dave?
I have it. I played a little bit of it and then I dropped it. I want to go back to the first one and beat it. I was almost done with beating that one, and then I'm gonna pop in the Will of the Wisps. I have it. I just haven't really dove into it.
Okay. Well,
so on my backlog.
Yeah. So I'll say this: any business owner out there listening to our show should take this story as an example of good marketing, good money well spent. They're helping the world and they're helping their business. But
yeah.
So I had said anecdotally a long time ago, what was that? Bloomberg? Did Bloomberg do a presidential run this last year?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what? So that guy spent like $200 million in like a month on a bunch of television commercials, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something crazy like that. Anyways, the amount that Bloomberg had spent was the amount Bloomberg had spent was more than the projected cost to fix the pipes and water system in Flint, Michigan. Which, yes, is still an issue here, like 5+ years later, however awfully long it's been. But if Bloomberg had taken that money that he spent on a bunch of television commercials and fixed the water system, just been like, here, Flint, Michigan, here is a check. You can, you're saving an entire city. If Michael Bloomberg had done that, he would have been on every headline across the entire country for the entire week at least. That would have been a lot better money spent than on commercials that I don't know. I didn't see. I don't know if you ever saw any of them. But anyways,
they didn't work.
There's a lot of benefits in helping other people, and I feel good. Like, I genuinely, like, I hope our listeners can, I hope my, happiness and my smile is coming across to our listeners listening right now, but this one genuinely warmed my heart this week, Dave.
Yeah, no, I agree. It warms my heart, and I think that's a good way to cap off the show.
Yeah, I don't know. maybe it was a little ranty of me, but the point is a lot can be done from helping other people and from goodwill, which Moon Studios and John Gibson and everyone else. I am a
keep doing what you're doing over there.
Cheers to that. Should we close out the show?
On that note, let's close that out, Pat.
That's it.
Oh, before we do that, wait. We have a code giveaway. Don't think we forgot. So for all you people out there who want a Halo Infinite emblem, go hit up halowaypoint.com/redeem. Go on that website and you'll be prompted to enter this code here. It's about 4 digits plus 4 digits, 4 digits plus 4 digits. We got like 12.
Ooh.
So make sure to put a dash in between every 4 digits to make sure you get this code right away.
Ooh, just like Jesus' disciples, we got 12. Ooh,
just like digits. The 12 tribes of Israel. Let's go.
Ooh, break it down, Dave. Break it down. Here we go.
So we got 4 4 Z T C J 9 6 W X P 2 E 3 A A.
Whew! Gosh dang. That was pretty
Congrats
good.
To anyone who got the code, or to whoever gets the code. And if you're saying like, hey man, I didn't get the code. I was too slow, yo. Well, say, hey man, tune in next week. We're gonna be giving away an armor coating, even better. And we'll be giving away some more another emblem after that, the week thereafter, along with the Master Chief Collection giveaway. So if you want to win this Master Chief Collection digital download, hit up our Gmail at psboxcast@gmail.com. Yeah, email us, header, MCC giveaway, body, your first and last name, and something about the show. And guess what? You're entered, put you in a raffle, and we'll announce the winner in a couple of weeks here. So, anyways, I've been your hosts, David, SD Dog,
and PlayStation Pat Fennel. Green vs. Blue can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, or your favorite podcast service. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and Patreon for more content. You can directly support us by heading to patreon.com/green versus blue. That's patreon.com/green vs blue. Dave, where can we find you socially on the internet one more time?
YouTube, SD Dog, gamertag, SD Dog. That's spelled SDDAWG.
Go play some games, watch some vids that Dave's got. And when you're done with that, you can come follow me on YouTube or Twitch. Same name, @VarietyPat. That's VARIOTYPAT. Or on Instagram @PlayStationPat. And remember, if you have any burning questions or comments about today's show, or if you have anything else to say about the podcast, including entering that giveaway, all you have to do is hit our direct line at psboxcast@gmail.com. That's psboxcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and you can catch us again next week. Bye-bye.
Adios. 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 Adios.